our words are so powerful, and we have faith in what we say. There's a belief system behind there. So whether we're believing a lie or we're believing a truth, our words really do matter.
Hi, it's me, Mila, and welcome to Okayish Advice. Is it the best advice? Probably not, but
It's okay though.
But it's okay. We've been through things, we've lived life, and, take it with a grain of salt. Yeah. So this is my friend Jenae.
Hi.
Hey. I'm so excited. We met up at Blue 32 when the little spot I first had, Mama Mila's. And I don't know. I just saw her and I was like, oh my God, she looks like me because you dress so vintage and rockabilly. And then
there's not many people out here that dress like
sure.
that. So I had that same instant connection. I'm like, what?
You were like, oh my God, someone like me. Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like every time that I talk to you, you're like the opposite of an energy vampire. You're always you're always speaking life and always uplifting everybody around you. And so I thought this would be the perfect show for you to be on because we're talking about mental health and your personal journey. You guys, it is so hard for me to not talk with my hands and hold this script.
She's Italian.
I'm and so I just thought this would be really awesome.
Yeah.
So we've had people write in questions.
Okay.
And we're basically just going to answer them and give them okayish advice.
Great.
So the first question is, I moved across the country for a better life for my kids. My daughter's opening the door and it's just creaking. Okay. Hi. We're recording, so I'll see you in a little bit. I love them. It sounded haunted, didn't it?
A little bit.
It was okay. I moved across the
room,
country. Gemma, you're supposed to be quiet. Oh, sorry. It's mine. What is happening? You got to get out of here. I need 30 minutes, please. Bye.
Love you.
What is happening?
It's life with kids. This is real life.
It is real life. For real. Okay. For the third time. I've moved across the country for a better life for my kids. And since I left, the dysfunction from my past life has become more evident the further I've gotten from that time period. What is your advice for starting a new life in a new place?
There's a lot there. It's a lot to move anywhere. Starting over is huge.
So true.
But let's see. For me, I moved about almost 6 years ago cross country, and it's a process. I feel like it's a process, and there's seasons that you go through in that. Specifically, I think for me, some things that I had to do was really do a lot of soul searching. Sometimes I feel like in the culture that we live in, we are very, we're very fast food. I just want the answer and I want to fix it now. And some things take time. Some things take time to mull over and to sit and to process. And especially if it's things from your past that are kind of coming and rising up to the surface, that's usually a sign I need to pause for a minute. I need to pause. I need to look at what these things are. And then for me, at that moment, then it's like, okay, Jesus, this is too much. I can't fix myself. I would have if I could have already. What do I need to do? What are the steps, that he can kind of walk us through into that next phase of healing? Because there is healing on the other side. There is freedom from those things that haunt us, from our past.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just taking the time to stop and to process and to go, what are those things? And what is triggering me into this place right now?
No, that's so true. And I don't know if you experienced this when you moved here, but it was coming from such a toxic environment in Cali, and then moving here, it was I was almost in shock of how much peace there is here.
For sure.
And But that brought up a lot of like generational stuff
Right.
that was like pointed out, like from my family, from, my parents, and even stuff, that me and Matt did,
Yeah.
And his family and whatever. And like just kind of working through that to become like who you're supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
It was like in a weird way, it was like when my family immigrated here for a better life, like
Yeah.
we did the same thing kind of, coming here and like living in Tennessee. So it was like you kind of have to like work through that stuff, and it's okay. And I think that it's normal to
I
do
think
that.
so too. Yeah.
Like it's like really like you are reinventing your whole life, yourself, everything.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like a heavy subject.
It is.
But all you can do is, I think, just take it day by day and like pray and ask God, like, hey, like, what am I supposed to be working on in this season?
Yeah.
And I think that if you're open about it with your kids, it's amazing.
Definitely. Because they see it.
Yeah. And
Kids are
they're going
smart.
through stuff too.
They're going through it too. Yeah. And talking it out, I think that's where there's hope too. If let's say that the issue that's coming up is, I don't know, anger or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or rage, or you're like, I don't know why I keep, going and defaulting to this all of the time. But having those moments, talking with your kids, like,
Yeah.
this is what I'm feeling. Are you feeling this way too? Like, what's going on? But
So
then
true.
instead of just leaving it there, like, well, we're all angry people, taking the next step and going, okay, God, you know me. You created my innermost being. Lord, lead me to the resources. Lead me to the things that will unlock these areas,
Yeah.
that unlock the generational curse, not unlock the generational curses, but tie those things up
Yeah.
under the blood of Jesus. Lord, what is it that my parents did that is spilling over into my life
Yeah.
and is spilling over into my children's life? Because Jesus, his blood covered it all. But God, I need to know what those things are so that I can
true.
present them and go, no more. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I'm putting the bloodline of Jesus around these
Yeah.
things. We're putting a stop to it because I'm choosing not to follow in
Yeah.
this generational sin, if
So
you
true.
will. But something great happens there when God brings those things up because he's so loving and kind. He'll let those things come to the surface
Yeah.
because he wants us to have that freedom.
No, that's
So when they
true.
come and then they're like in your face and you're having to look at it and go, okay, Lord, God, I need you.
Yeah.
Because I don't want this to be the thing that is passed on to my grandchildren and so forth.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. And like also something I learned in that too was like stepping in the gap and asking for forgiveness
Absolutely.
on behalf of your ancestors.
Yes.
Matt and I actually even did that for this house, like because you don't know what happened in the land because it was built in the 1800s.
Right.
So the house just kind of felt like weird and chaotic, and Matt and I just prayed and asked for forgiveness. You
Yeah.
wouldn't believe like how crazy forgiveness goes.
It's so powerful.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it just like, it stops the enemy in his tracks, and it doesn't give him any like legal grounds to like torment you anymore
For
or
sure.
to use something against you
Right.
because it's been wiped clean,
Totally.
which is like so cool. And when you were talking, it reminded me of my daughter, Gia. She was like really, really angry for a while, and Matt and I couldn't figure it out. And one day she came into our bedroom and we were talking to her. And when we moved here, she was 4, I think, 5.
Okay.
And I said to her, I said, Gia, why are you so angry? And you know what she said to me? She said, you took me from everything that I knew, and we came here, and it was not easy, Mom.
Yeah.
And Matt and I had to sit with her and ask her for forgiveness because we didn't realize that when she was so little, she didn't understand like the danger and the toxic stuff that we were living in California. Like she didn't understand, that
Sure.
the crime and how
Right.
awful it was. That's all that she knew, and she always felt safe with us. So, this kind of like went off a little bit, but that's something to kind of remember is like to be open with your kids in talking about that.
Yeah.
And being like, we didn't realize that we needed Gia's forgiveness. So we asked her for forgiveness. And I'm telling you, she has never been angry like that ever again. Like it broke something. It was amazing.
That's so amazing that you're the parents that model that for your kids. Like my parents did that for us as well. If they got into a fight or an argument or whatever and there were words, they would come in and sit us down and go, you know what, we're really sorry because mommy and daddy said some hurtful things to one another. And we
amazing.
weren't showing love or respect or whatever. And will you guys forgive us? There was something as kids hearing that from your authority, from your parents going, whoa, absolutely, yes, I forgive you. But that creates something in your home that creates you're rolling, you're modeling for them that like I haven't arrived. I'm not some adult
like,
that's got it all figured out. You know,
I'm crazy.
it's so powerful. It's so important for kids to see that example.
Yeah.
Also, that is the new thing that you are setting in your family.
Yeah, I love that.
That is what they are going to have and they are going to pass on to their kids, right?
Yeah.
It's breaking those old things and then creating new things, healthy things. And it's not, hey, we've got it all together. It's okay to be broken.
Yeah.
It's okay to mess up.
Yeah.
But there is an abundance of forgiveness.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this was so good for the first question. I'm sorry, but it really was. Okay, I'm handing this off to you.
All right, girl. Let's see. So the next question is, I've always struggled with self-worth. The older I get, it seems to be harder to find my true identity and not blur that with the negative things that have been spoken over me. What is your advice for finding the real me?
Whew. We got the good questions. Okay. So I definitely resonate with negative things being spoken over you. You know, I look back on my childhood, on my past, like being bullied in school. But also, you know, a lot of my family members that were there that were supposed to protect me actually, you know, made me feel like I was never good enough or skinny enough or pretty enough. And, you know, I was put on my first diet when I was 6 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So like, I know it's so like, I look at my daughter Pearl and I can't even imagine putting her on a diet, you know? And I see that like in, you know, I see that they were trying to, in their own way, help me.
Sure.
But it didn't help me.
Right.
So, and then when you like become a parent and then you see all that, you're like, how do I, you know, heal myself and not do that to my own kids?
Right.
So I daily struggle with like intrusive thoughts. And I'm always like, I'm just constantly praying to see myself the way that God sees me.
Right.
And so, and to not like fall back onto how I've always seen myself. And so I created like a prayer like / vision board at the beginning of this year. Cool. And I put like, what is my, like, what does God's version of Mila look like? Right. And like, I mean, I just specifically prayed and asked God for how he sees me and who I'm supposed to be. And I feel like when you start asking questions like that, God will put the right people in your life to speak those things into you. You know, like your mom at the restaurant, oh my God, she's always telling me, like Mila, like she's like my little cheerleader and I just want to like put her in my back pocket, you know, but she's like, whereas my whole life, like people have told me who, you know, who Satan thinks I am. Like she comes in and she's like, Mila, you can do this. She's like, you're good. The restaurant is good. We're doing God's work, you know? And it's like, I don't know. That's kind of, you know, how I go day by day. And I think it's kind of crazy because I always have heard like, once you hit 40, you just don't care anymore. Like something happens and you're just like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to live my life, dress how I want, whatever. And I know that like a lot of people think like, hey, like, that I'm super confident or whatever. But like, I don't know. I feel like when everything happened with Giada, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be me.
Yeah.
And I just made the decision to be me. And I was like, if it makes people uncomfortable, like, you know, because I mean, the way that we dress isn't like how, like what's cool like in society right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like
it's very old.
Yeah, it's very old and like I don't know, but I just love it. And like it of course draws attention, you know, from people. Especially old men. Do you notice that?
I try not to notice things.
They're always like, you remind me of my wife. And I'm like, then I look at their wife and they're like, I'm like, oh great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I don't know. But like, I don't know. The dress like how it makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just makes me sad. Like even with my like tattoos and stuff.
Yeah.
I started like with black and gray because I was always told like wear black because it looks slimming and you don't want to stand out. And then one day I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to do the rest of my tattoos like in color.
Yeah.
Because like I want to be colorful because
Sure.
God made me to be colorful.
Right.
So, and this is like really random, like how I went off on this rabbit trail, but
No, it's good.
like, we're made to stand out. And, also I heard this thing the other day, where if you constantly look at yourself and degrade yourself, you're basically telling God that he's not good enough.
Right. Right.
Like that you're not good enough and he's not good enough.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's so easy to do that.
Oh, totally.
Looking in a mirror, I was having a hard time finding something to wear today. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so fat. And those words just come out. And it's like trying to stop those things.
Yeah.
Trying to retract them. It's not that I don't need to work on it. There are things I need to work on with my body. But
don't we all?
we're constantly a work in progress, but not letting those statements define us, not letting that become a part of our identity, because our words are so powerful.
Yes.
And we have faith in what we say. There's a belief system behind there. So whether we're believing a lie or we're believing a truth, our words really do matter. Right?
Oh, yeah, that's so true. I mean, even like I kind of feel like in every culture they have like, or every religion, they have a thing, it's manifestation, it's prayer, it's whatever. But like the bottom line is that what you speak like does happen.
It does.
So when and that's something I've had to work on a lot is like, whatever comes out of my mouth, it needs to be like edifying.
Right.
That's so hard.
Right. Because we don't want the enemy as the accuser to be able to, legally point and go, well, she said.
Oh yeah, that's so
right?
good.
Because he does. He'll look for any little thing
Yes.
to hold on to, our own words especially, and go, well, she
Yes.
said it.
Yes.
She said it, so now what?
And like imagine that like in the court of like if you were in a court of law.
Right.
Like they could use that evidence against you.
Your words against you, absolutely. In the court of heaven.
Yes.
We don't
So
see it in
true.
the natural, but it's there. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, you guys, this was like a light bulb moment. What the heck? That was so good. Okay, I'm sorry. But that was so good.
Well, can I
hope
say
people
something on
listen.
identity too, though?
Yes, please.
I learned this a while ago, but we as people learn our identity from our father, our earthly father.
Oh, great. Mine's not here.
I know. That's not
I've got
always,
no identity.
No. That's not always the best news, right?
No, but it's true.
But whether your father was there or absent or abusive or whatever it was, we learn a lot about who we think we are based on that earthly figure. And what God wants to do is to heal the damage because he's a perfect father. He wants to be able to step into those places where there were deficiencies or holes or trauma or whatever. And that's where, like what you were doing, going, wait, God, how do you see me?
Yes.
And we can talk to him, and he does talk back if we listen. And we can go to his word because he and his word are one. So if we go, well, I don't know how God feels about me, and I don't really hear God, well, then go to his word. God, what do you say about your creation? What do you say about your love for me? What do you say about my future? What are your promises for me? And even though at first that might just feel like, well, these are just words, but when you start applying that to yourself,
Yeah.
okay, I'm speaking this over me and I'm trusting because you are perfect. I'm trusting that you're going to heal those places and asking him to go into those deep daddy wounds and to heal it up and to restore us. Man, look out. Because that's when we start to actually know who we are and to believe it. And that's going to transfer. And it won't be us just trying to muster up some sort of like, it's okay, I'm okay, when we're really not. But he's so beautiful, and he's so kind, and he's so loving. And when I look at my kids, and I'm an imperfect parent, and I love on them, and I want to be with them, and I want to talk to them about what they're going to wear and what they're doing and how was math class and whatever the thing is. And I'm an imperfect parent. Like, how much more does our Heavenly Father, who created us, who literally formed us, want to just like hang and talk and pour his love and speak his truth over who we are to fill in those places where there were deficits, because we all got deficits, you know? But again, there's hope.
My dad was a deadbeat. I got the deficits.
There's a lot of people that I'm sure that can relate to that too.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so beautiful though. Like,
there's hope.
yes.
There's hope. He doesn't want to leave us in this condition. That's the good news.
Oh my gosh. And then like once that starts happening, I mean, I feel like the scariest thing to the enemy is a person who's in their calling.
And knows who they are in Christ.
Yeah. Totally.
Look out. Yeah.
Stay on alert, demons.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's been so long since I heard that.
I'm old.
Oh my God.
I'm old.
No, you're not. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hi, Mila. Can you give me advice about caring what other people think? Oh, I feel like I'm always worried about what others are thinking about me. Clothes, my behavior, my kids. All right. Well. Lord. There's
a lot there.
I know you want to go first.
Sure.
Okay.
I totally relate. I feel like that's a human condition.
Yeah.
Everybody that I know wants to be loved, wants to be liked, wants to be affirmed, wants other people to like them. And so, yeah, there's the human condition that we have. But, man, it's such a trap. It's such a trap if we get stuck in this place of wanting to please other people, because then you can lose yourself completely.
Totally.
You know? Because there's always going to be somebody that has an opinion. There's always going to be somebody to tell you, you need to do it like this. You need to raise your kids like this. You need to blah, 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 blah,
right.
blah. So I guess for me, the simplicity that I have to come back to is kind of what you were saying before. Like, God, how do you see me?
Yeah.
Lord, what is it that you're wanting to work on in me? Because there's always something that we can work on. Well, Lord, what is the thing that I need to give a little more attention to and a little more time to? Lord, what is it that you want to kind of purge and pull out of me, whether it's how I'm raising my kids or my relationships or whatever, and let him do the editing, because he's so beautifully loving and tender in the way that he does that. But then aside from that, okay, God, like, I realize there are going to be people that they're not going to like me, period.
Dude, that's so hard.
It is hard.
It is so hard.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've had to learn so much with like being a businesswoman and like having the restaurant and just all of that. And it's like so hard because I'm like, how do you not like me? Like, I'm a delight. What have I done to you? You know, like I'm a good person.
Yeah.
And if I was your friend, I would want you to succeed.
Right.
And I would love you to your best potential.
Right.
But like, why am I always quoting the weirdest people? Last episode, I quoted a Duggar, but this time I'm going to quote Dita Von Teese, who's basically a stripper.
Oh, great.
But
she's got good style.
She does. She's a burlesque dancer, so it's like a high-class stripper, if that counts. Anyways, but she has this quote, and it says, like, you could be the juiciest, ripest peach, and there will always be someone out there who doesn't like peaches.
Right.
And it's so true.
It's true.
Like, sometimes you just have to like grow a thick skin and realize that other people's opinion about you doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The only person's opinion about you that matters is God's.
Mic drop.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, it's true.
You know? And I mean, but like God puts people in your life, of course, like your spouse or, you know, really good friends to kind of like help you and
to sharpen you.
Yeah. Yeah, and to help you along your life,
right.
You know, and their opinions, you know, do matter to an extent.
Right.
But like, if you know that what you are doing and like God is like that you are just pursuing Jesus, like that's all that matters.
It's true.
So, and your character will always show.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many people who talk about me and say crap about me. And you know what I do? I bless them. Because every single person who has tried to ruin me has come around and either been my friend or God's taking care of them.
Right.
So you don't got to worry about what other people think and what other people say about you.
Right.
Just be true.
That's so good.
You know?
Yeah. Going to the Father and just being like, well, and going with the hurt, because it does hurt.
Yeah.
It does hurt when there's rejection. It does hurt when you know that people are hating on you for no good reason
right.
whatsoever.
Right.
You know, but hurt people hurt people.
So
right?
true.
We know that.
So true.
But taking those hurts to him and just being like, this hurts, but God, I do want to be who you made me to be. I don't want to compromise that.
Yeah.
Right? Going to him for, like Philip and I, we'll talk to the Lord about all sorts of things, and we'll include him in the plans that we make because we want to be right before him. I'll give you an example. We went on, we were supposed to go on a big vacation to Europe for a friend's wedding that we were supposed to be in. This was when we were earlier married, and we just prayed because we just got into this habit of like, Lord, what do you think? What should we do? This is a big financial thing this trip, blah, blah, blah. What do you think? We really want to go. That's our desire. And we both prayed and asked, and we both felt like God was saying, don't go on this trip.
Okay.
And it was a bummer. It was a total bummer. And it's like, oh my gosh, but we both got the same thing, and we were trusting in faith that that's what God was speaking, and so we didn't go. And then calling your friends, that you're so close to being like, I'm so sorry, but we're not going. And I don't have a reason other than God said
no.
don't go, which, some people might be like, oh, that's stupid, but, risking that and saying we have to be obedient to what he told us. And they were super understanding and all this stuff. And what ended up happening was we ended up going through a really hard financial time right after that. Wow. And when we looked back, we were like, oh my gosh, if we had spent all that money, we couldn't imagine how buried we would have been.
Right.
And God knew that. But again, following God and the things that he says and the leading of his voice, that also can have people look at you like, you're a little whacked out,
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we have peace because we know it came from him.
Yeah, so true.
Right? At the end of our life, we stand before him.
Right.
Right. And so.
And there's two other things that I want to kind of touch on with this question. Society will always judge you.
Right.
We have, at the risk of, somebody calling me a conspiracy theorist, whatever, society is made to be fake. It is made to have unrealistic expectations about everything, your body, who you're supposed to be, how much money you're supposed to have, whatever. It's not real.
Right.
So don't ever put yourself to looking at people on Instagram and people who, are movie stars, like all of that. It's not real.
It's not.
It's just not.
No.
So those expectations aren't real. And we definitely are at a point where we can break that for our kids' generation.
Yeah.
And be like, no, we want to be real, authentic people.
That's right.
And the average size in America is a 16. People who are on, people who are on TV, they're like a 0. Mm-hmm. Okay. So don't hold yourself to that kind of standard, because I've spent my whole life trying to be thin, and it has taken away from so much beautiful things that I could have been done. So healthy is the new skinny.
Yeah.
Okay. It just is. Just be healthy. And the other thing I want to say is when people are judging you about your kids, friends, Jesus was the perfect person, and Mary still lost that guy for 3 days.
True.
So don't hold yourself to the craziest standard.
Right.
I remind myself that all the time. I'm they still lost Jesus. I'm fine. They did not know where he was at. And, and he couldn't have gotten far either. They were just walking. So don't hold yourself to a standard, and don't let other people speak about your kids.
Yeah.
Don't let them, their opinions matter.
Because we're accountable to God for our kids.
Yes.
And he knew what they needed when he gave them to us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're working on yourself and, you're doing all that generational stuff and whatever, and you're breaking that for your kids, then,
right.
Hey, you're doing all right.
That's right.
Give yourself grace.
Totally.
You have to have grace, because you will literally drive yourself crazy if you don't have grace for yourself.
And nobody posts bad things.
That's so true.
Nobody posts about the crappy day that they're having and how they yelled at their kids and, spilled their coffee all over themselves.
Right.
We don't see people posting about that stuff, and we know that it happens. Yeah. So I know.
It's always a highlight reel.
It is.
Instagram and all of that, it's always a highlight reel. We should make that a thing, a trend. Like the real.
The real mother. The real, what would that be?
I don't know.
A day in the real.
Yeah. Like, you're like, hi, it's me. Like my bun's like over here. I'm all, hello. Yeah, but
I'd be with no eyebrows. Because me in the morning, you wouldn't see expression. It
oh
would
my
just
God,
be like,
real high.
is she happy? Is she mad?
No, I love that. Is there anything else that you want to say about that last question? I'm like, this was good. I mean, before we wrap up and everything, or even about like, you know, your own journey coming into like who you are today.
I think it's still a work in progress. I'm very much somebody that fights perfectionism.
Yeah.
If I'm being real, I fight perfectionism. I fight having grace for myself when I do it wrong, because I still want to do it right.
Yeah.
Then when I do it wrong, I tend to beat myself up more than I need to.
Yeah.
And living in that place of, okay, God, what you care about me matters. That's a fight I still have to battle in my mind too. All of these things. It's really easy talking about it and saying, yeah, we shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm right there. So I relate to that fully. But you know, having that daily grace of going, okay, Lord, like I'm a work in progress and it's okay.
Yeah.
And you still love me where I'm at. Like that's where I am. Just trying to take that and let that be a part of who he's called me to be. Is an imperfect person in need of grace, you know? And yeah, so I love these questions because they're very real.
Yeah.
It's very real, and
I love it.
yeah.
And I feel like a lot of our customers at the restaurant are like nice, like real people.
Yeah.
So it's cool like to see this and to see, you know, I know that earlier today I was just praying like, God, like if this could just like hit one person, like, and give one person like understanding that they're okay.
Right.
Then that's like all of this, everything that everybody's put into it, it's worth it.
Totally. We're all a work in progress.
Totally.
Something I love about you, though, is how authentic you are, how I think this is something that a lot of people love and are gravitated to about you, is that you live in a place of truth. Like,
you think so? All right.
I do. And I love that, and I respect that about you, because there's something about the real that is so refreshing.
I love that.
To me.
Thank you.
It's refreshing to be around someone who's just like, well, here it is, you know. And I know your heart. I know you love the Lord. I know you're after beautiful things, and you give things 110%. But there's a truth in it that is just, it's so attractive. It's so beautiful. And I think that's why so many people also like, you're very much a role model, Mila, in those ways.
That is almost scary.
I'm not saying that for
I promise you, I'm trying very hard.
No. I don't mean that like to put pressure on you.
No, but
it's just you being you. You being your authentic you, us figuring out what this means.
Yeah.
You know, it's refreshing in this day and age where everybody is told to look like this, to do this, to sound like this, to line up like this, right? And I love it. I love that about you.
Oh my God.
You continue to be your authentic self that God made you to be.
Like, I told Christy not to make me cry because I don't have my eyelashes anymore. I have mascara, but I'm like, duh. Oh my gosh, thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm like, yeah, I mean, you know, I've been through it. So that makes me feel good because that's just.
But you're sharing your journey and you share your story. And that's a big part of healing, I think, for a lot of people, is hearing like, gosh, I'm not alone in this. I'm not the only one that's going through this. I'm not the only one that's struggling in this area.
Yes, totally.
So
I'm like, maybe I'm going to write a book.
Do it.
It'd be like my big fat Greek wedding and like Everybody Loves Raymond mixed with a devotional. Well, and maybe like Days of Our Lives in there also.
That's cool. I'd watch it or read it.
We'll watch it.
Audible.
I'm all, any TV producers out there, I have a lot of content for you.
Right.
I'm just kidding. So, oh my gosh. Well, that was great. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. Like, I can't wait for this to come out. And
Thank you for having me.
yeah, thank you for coming on. Thank you for like your beautiful like words of wisdom and just being my good friend.
I love you, friend.
I love you so much. But listen, don't forget, you are going to subscribe because you love us.
Absolutely.
And you are going to follow us on every social media platform that there is, which is Facebook, Instagram. Why did my brain just die? TikTok. I almost said the Twitter. Don't follow me there.
Twitter doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, it doesn't exist.
No, Elon Musk took over it. Now it's X.
Ew, a
You
double
can't say follow me
Elon.
on X. That's not a thing.
Ew. Also, ew, X.
Yeah.
Like, no, thank
And
you.
YouTube.
Oh, and YouTube, please. Follow us on all of it. Thank you so much for being with us today. And don't forget, if you want some okayish advice, comment, send us a DM, do whatever you need to do for us to kind of help you in your life. Okay? I love you. Tanti Bachi.
Bye.
Ciao.